Hey everybody, it's your buddy Beard Grizzly, and today we're going to check out SRL. Racing, sports, and other competitive activities have been a staple of human life for either recreation or professional interest for, well, millennia at least. You could go as far back as just throwing a ball around, a stick in a hoop, gladiatorial combat, chariot races. Hang on. A lot of this has to do with the Roman Empire. Well, let's examine them a bit, shall we? First, the Crucible. Of course, we could link that more towards gladiatorial combat a bit, right? Pitting a group of individuals or just an all-out brawl. Both styles were pretty common in Roman arenas. American football has been commonly related to gladiator combat, though I don't see it. I don't know about you guys. Seems to be a few less limbs flying off of bodies, you know? They also popularized the idea of racing. Chariot racing, like the one seen in Ben-Hur, was my first exposure to the style of race. The idea of going around a track seemed a little meh, but there was something about it as I got older. I say older because 15 isn't old. No, it's not, you young whippersnappers. I don't have gray hairs. I don't know what you're talking about. Why chariots? Well, chariots were smaller than most carts at the time. Most were generally larger vehicles to transport goods, troops, families, so on. The chariot was highly mobile. This made it great for fast-moving infantry, scouts, messengers, and smaller merchants to travel faster than a snail's pace. Sorry, I'm carrying on, but that's just how much of a big deal the chariot was for the time. It's hard to track down just when chariot racing began, but we have some fair ideas. Let's just say the idea of racing has been around for some time, at least a few thousand years of recorded history, but I think it's fairly safe to assume racing existed long before that, either with horses, donkeys, or other animals. Something else was heavily born of sports like chariot racing, though. Financial backers, sponsors, and family names saw it as a great way to advertise. It pulled in money from gambling, food, merchants, and other organizations in the city. The arenas were what we'd consider stadiums today. Heck, women were even able to spectate, which for the time was very unheard of. It was a great way to pull in revenue for the city and a place for people to congregate. The only issue was finding people to race, as chariot racing was very hard on the person driving, the equipment itself, and the horse or horses pulling the chariot. PETA would be pissed today, to say the least. Let's zip forward to 1908 with Henry Ford and the Model T. The Model T wasn't the first car. Keep this in mind. Racing cars started as early as 1867, but it wasn't until the price of such vehicles came down that the ability for people to race automobiles really came to fruition. Sponsors, bankers, family names, and other institutions saw it as a great place to advertise, as racing really garnered a lot of attention. A couple other dates to rattle off here. 1948, NASCAR was formed. Formula One was formed in 1950, and Indy Speedway was built in 1909 as America's first and oldest track. So, a couple similarities we could pull from chariot racing to today, right? Both involve the idea of financial backers and interested parties, and both involve the idea of things going really fast. Sometimes history can repeat itself in good ways, huh? So, SRL, right, we were talking about that. The history of SRL is a little fuzzy. We now use ultra-fast Sparrows to get around. They're much smaller than a car, so they're light, maneuverable, and pretty quick. We'll look into Sparrows in a later video. There's actually a lot of cool stuff we can talk about and relate them to. We know of a few big-name Guardians that exist or existed that really brought the sport up to being something cool, fun, and competitive. They are legends in the SRL. Marcus Wren, Crown 8, Tyler Sola, racers who are so skilled and so fearless that they stand apart from the pack. Now you've made your mark on the track, Guardian. Amanda Holliday. Aside from a couple names and quotes from gear and quest text, it's hard to find much info on actual racers in the SRL. We know it's a fairly established form of entertainment, though not until recent years. Ever since the proliferation of the Sparrow, racing is a long-standing tradition among Guardians, but only in recent years have the races moved from an underground attraction to an organized sport. Under the direction of the SRL, Red Jacks and Guardians clear hostile zones and mark the race courses. Residents of the tower and the city eagerly await for news of the sport and follow the exploits of their favorite racers. There are things to worry about on the track as well. Take the Mars track at Campus Martius, for example. Gotta make sure your timing is just right if you want to slide through those blades. Amanda Holliday. All tracks have obstacles to overcome, from spinning turbines to Vex on the field. The tracks each have precision hairpins and turns to navigate, and your fellow Guardian just being a big old jerk. It's something everyone can get into, and just like the Romans of old, one that the entire public can get into. Don't forget, Rome was near always at war, so any little escape that people could muster was good for them, just as it would be for the tower. Heck, even Shax gets into the affairs, ordering Red Jacks, the helpful robot friends in the tower, to mark off courses for us. Some might see racing through the heart of the Vex territory as foolhardy. When Shax sent his Red Jacks to mark up the SRL track on Venus, however, he ordered them to find a location worthy of the bravest and most skilled Guardians. Other financial backers and sponsors have joined on with the idea of Sparrow Racing as well, advertising their logos and identities to those interested. We know the last city is where a lot of people live, but there are still some settlements out and about on other worlds that have survived. This could be their way of getting to know these sponsors. I mean, there's still a lot of currency flying around today, what with Glimmer, legendary marks, consumables like Ether Seeds, Grimoire, and Arcana, you name it. We're a salvaging community. Of course there's going to be a lot of bartering and currency flying around, and a lot of companies interested in capitalizing. Sadly, a Sparrow doesn't have a lot of room to litter the chassis with stickers, so we don't see a lot of sponsorship on Sparrows, much like you might see on a current day race car. There are a few themed Sparrows, like the Faction Sparrows, Crucible-related Sparrows, and the ones from last year with the SRL logo all over them, but for the most part, sponsorship is left to the big signs all over the track. SRL is a great little combination of Roman racing and Formula 1 racing. Fast, high-end speeds needing heavy precision, but an element of chance and skill involved while avoiding the perils on the track set forth by either your fellow racers, obstacles being flung in your way, or enemies on the field. I'm really happy to have it back, and I'm super excited to get into it. I've been Beard Grizzly. Keep your guns greased up and your lights strong, Guardians. I'll see you on the track. No, I won't, because you'll be behind me. Have fun, everyone.